What if there were a place where deserts resemble another planet, where ancient cities rise between mountains and salt plains, and where silence stretches farther than the horizon itself? A land where wind-carved rock formations stand untouched for centuries, where turquoise domes emerge through desert haze, and where the unseen lingers within landscapes shaped by time and isolation. Welcome to Iran, a country where nature, history, and mythology exist within the same vast terrain. From the surreal expanse of Dasht-e to the volcanic presence of Mount Damavand, from the ancient silence of Yazd to the otherworldly landscapes of Keshem Island, Iran reveals a side of the Middle East rarely seen beyond the surface. Here, the day begins slowly. Light moves across desert stone, mountain shadows drift over distant valleys, and ancient architecture emerges gradually through dust and silence. This is not a place defined by a single era, but by continuity, where ruins, deserts, forests, and human presence remain connected across immense stretches of time. In this cinematic journey, Hidden Planet TV 4K takes you beyond the surface into the unseen side of Iran, where mountains, deserts, and memory exist in timeless balance. Across the landscapes of Iran, history does not remain confined to monuments or ruins. It continues to exist within cities, deserts, traditions, and the rhythm of everyday life. Ancient architecture rises from the terrain with remarkable precision. Dasht-e, courtyards, bridges, and stone structures reflect centuries of artistic balance shaped by geometry, light, and silence. Older cities, narrow alleys guide movement through layered spaces where shadows and textures preserve traces of civilizations that once crossed these lands. The desert holds a different kind of memory. Caravan routes, wind towers, and isolated settlements remain connected to an era when survival depended on harmony with climate and landscape. Throughout the country, cultural expression appears not only in grand structures but in smaller details. Patterns carved into stone, handwritten calligraphy, woven textiles, and spaces designed for stillness and reflection. Light transforms these environments constantly. Morning reveals delicate textures, while sunset deepens the warmth of ancient surfaces, allowing history to feel alive rather than distant. In modern movement, the presence of the past never fully disappears. It remains embedded within the atmosphere itself. In Iran, the unseen is not hidden beneath history, but carried through it, where memory, architecture, and time continue to exist in quiet continuity. Facing the vast square of Naqsh-e-Jahan Square in Isfahan, Ali Qapu rises as a structure where architecture becomes a balance between power, symmetry, and silence. The palace stands with restrained grandeur. Its height, wooden columns, and layered terraces overlook the square with a presence that feels both monumental and distant. From below, the structure appears calm and geometric. Yet as movement ascends through its interior corridors and spiral stairways, the atmosphere becomes increasingly intimate and enclosed. The upper terrace opens suddenly toward the city, revealing the vastness of the square and the surrounding domes of Isfahan beneath shifting desert light. Outside, the famous music hall carries a different form of silence. Stucco carvings shaped like vessels and instruments line the walls, designed not only for beauty, but for acoustics that soften and shape sound itself. Throughout the day, light filters through the palace gradually, casting shadows across painted surfaces and aged wood without disturbing the stillness of the space. And in its openness, the palace feels suspended between worlds, between public square and royal interior, between movement and stillness, between history and atmosphere. Nali Qapu, the unseen is not hidden behind the architecture, but within its balance, where sound, light, and space continue to exist in quiet harmony. Across the southeastern expanse of Iran, the Lut Desert unfolds as a landscape where heat, silence, and scale erase the sense of ordinary geography. The terrain stretches endlessly through formations shaped by wind and temperature over immense periods of time, creating structures that appear more sculpted than natural. Towering yardangs rise from the desert floor in long parallel formations, casting deep shadows that shift slowly beneath the intense light. The surface changes constantly, from smooth salt plains to dark volcanic textures and vast dunes that seem to dissolve into the horizon. During the day, the heat transforms the atmosphere itself. Distant forms blur beneath waves of rising air, making the boundary between land and sky feel unstable and unreal. Despite its harshness, the desert remains profoundly still. There is almost no interruption, only wind, light, and the immense openness of space. At sunset, the landscape softens briefly. Warm tones spread across the formations, revealing depth and texture before darkness absorbs the terrain once again. In the Lut Desert, the unseen is not hidden beneath the sand, but within the emptiness itself, where silence, heat, and time exist beyond measure. In the heart of the desert landscapes of Iran, the old town of Yazd unfolds as a city where architecture and climate exist in complete balance. Mud brick alleyways wind through dense layers of earth-colored structures, creating pathways that feel enclosed yet endlessly connected. The city rises quietly from the desert, shaped not by excess but by adaptation. Windcatchers extend above rooftops, guiding air through the narrow spaces and softening the intensity of the surrounding heat. Light moves carefully through the old streets. At certain hours, only fragments of sunlight reach the ground, while shadows preserve a sense of coolness and stillness within the city. From above, domes and towers emerge in repeating patterns, blending almost seamlessly with the desert tones surrounding them. Even in silence, Yazd feels alive, not through movement alone, but through the continuity of traditions and spaces preserved across centuries. As evening approaches, the atmosphere changes gradually. The warm color of the walls deepens beneath fading sunlight, and the city seems to dissolve into the surrounding desert. In the old town of Yazd, the unseen is not hidden behind the walls, but within the harmony between architecture, climate, and time itself. At the base of distant mountains in Iran, Persepolis rises from the stone plateau as a landscape where the scale of empire still lingers within silence. Ruins extend across elevated ground in geometric precision. Columns, stairways, and carved reliefs remain partially intact, revealing fragments of a civilization shaped through symmetry, ceremony, and permanence. Approaching the site feels gradual. The openness of the surrounding terrain allows the structures to emerge slowly against the horizon, emphasizing distance and isolation rather than density. Every surface carries traces of detail. Stone carvings depicting figures, processions, and symbols continue to hold their form despite centuries of exposure to wind and heat. Light transforms the ruins throughout the day. Morning reveals sharp textures and shadows, while sunset softens the stone into warmer tones that blend with the surrounding mountains. Even in ruin, Persepolis retains a powerful stillness, not through movement or scale alone, but through the atmosphere created by absence and endurance. The farther one moves through the site, the more the space begins to feel suspended between history and landscape, where neither fully dominates the other. In Persepolis, the unseen is not hidden beneath the ruins, but within the silence they preserve, where memory, stone, and time remain inseparable. From the layered memory of historical culture of Iran to the elevated silence of Ali Qapu in Isfahan, this journey has moved through landscapes where architecture and time remain deeply connected. Across the endless expanse of the Lut Desert and within the earth-colored pathways of the old town of Yazd, silence itself becomes part of the landscape. Among the monumental ruins of Persepolis, the presence of the past continues to endure against mountains, wind, and shifting light. Throughout Iran, deserts, cities, and ancient stone remain connected through a rhythm shaped not by modern time but by continuity. This has been Hidden Planet TV 4K, exploring the unseen side of Iran, where memory, landscape, and silence exist in timeless balance. And beyond what has been revealed, there are still forgotten caravan routes beneath the desert sky, ancient walls holding centuries of echoes, and hidden horizons where the unseen continues, waiting to be felt.